ಶ್ರೀ ಗುರುಭ್ಯೋ ನಮಃ. ಹರಿ ಓಂ. ಓಂ ಅಖಂಡಾನಂದ ಸಂಬೋಧಃ ವಂದನಾತ್ಯಸ್ಯ ಜಾಯತೆ ಗೋವಿಂದಂ ತಮಹಂ ವಂದೇ ಚಿದಾನಂದ ತನುಂ ಗುರುಂ. So yesterday we saw aparoham, anaparoham, hir antaschapi, purna eva aham, ajaraha aham, aksharaha aham, nityanandaha aham, advitiyaha aham. So I am aparaha, anaparaha. There is nothing above me, superior to me, or there is nothing inferior to me. That is one meaning. Or I am not superior to anything, or I am not inferior to anything. Okay, that is also a way you can interpret it. Now, why? Because bahir antaschapi purnaivahaṃ, because internally and externally I am the absolute. I am omnipresent. So there is no possibility of something superior and inferior to me, or I being superior or inferior to anything. So, and old age, etc. Ajaroham. There is no old age, etc. in me. Okay, old age is not there, then there is probably death. Aksharoham. There is no kshara. There is no death, destruction also for me. Is it a sorrowful situation? He says, Nitya Anandoham. I am the absolute bliss. So there is no sorrow here. There is no grief possible. Okay? Now, why is that? Advitiyo aham. I am non-dual. Therefore, there is no kind of a sorrow, grief, etc. possible here. Now, pratyagabhinnamakhaṇḍaṃ satyajñānādilakṣaṇaṃ śuddham śrutyavagamyaṃ tathyaṃ brahmaivāhaṃ paraṃ jyotiḥ. pratyagabhinnamakhaṇḍaṃ satyajñānādilakṣaṇaṃ śuddham śrutyavagamya tathyaṃ brahma eva aham param jyotiḥ. Beautiful. Pratyagabhinnam. Pratyagabhinnam. Abhinnam, non-different, identical. Identical with what? Pratyaga, the individual self. The Vedantic statement motto is Jiva Brahma eva na aparaha. Jiva is Brahman itself. It is not different. So, pratyagabhinnaha, meaning the individual self is identical with the absolute. It is not different from the absolute. Okay? Now, why it is so? Because akhandam. Only when there is a khanda, there is a duality, there is a split, there is possibility of one being not identical with the other. Since this individual self is also unsplit, all pervading, omnipresent, therefore there is no possibility of any duality. Okay, and what is the nature of this unsplit, undivided self? Satyajñānādilakṣaṇaṃ, satyam jnanam anantam brahma. That is the inherent nature. Satyajñāna, etc. Okay, okay, fine. So how is it? Śuddham, pure. Okay, satyajñāna, etc. Even now you are satyajñāna, etc. But I don't understand that. If you say that is because of ignorance, you have to say that is the only answer. Oh, there is a possibility of ignorance coming and attacking yourself. Therefore, no, Śuddham. This is of the inherent nature of existence, knowledge, bliss, and it is ever pure. Has no association of any kind with ignorance or its effects. Okay. Now, what is that? How do I know that? Śrutyavagamyaṃ. It should be only known through the Shruti. There is no choice for you. Only Shruti can give you this knowledge. Okay. Now, that tathya, that truth, that which is known from the Shruti, param jyotiḥ, which is a param jyotiḥ. That tathyaṃ, that truth, that self is a param jyotiḥ. Superior effulgent. What is superior effulgent? Superior effulgence, meaning it is a self-effulgent. Whatever is dependent on other thing for its effulgence is a paratah prakāśa. They are inferior. Since the self is a self-effulgent, swaprakāśa, therefore it is a superior effulgence. What does effulgence mean? Means like the self is of the nature of a satyajñāna, the existence, knowledge, bliss, right? So the existence of the self is the cause for existence of everything. When I say pot exists, there are two parts. One is pot, the other is existence. Existence belongs to the self. The pot belongs to the world. You understand? So, whatever you see in the world, the existence part is of the self. That is why it is tasya bhasa sarvidam bhati. Because of its effulgence, everything shines. The shining there is existence. Because of its existence, everything exists. Okay? Paraṃ jyotiḥ, brahmaivāhaṃ. That self-effulgent self, I am. I am not different from that. So, wherever we begin, pratyagabhinnam brahmaivāhaṃ. I am that absolute self, not different from the individual self. That self alone I am. Okay? Now, we have been taught what this savikalpa śhabdānuviddhaḥ samadhi is. How do you know? We have been taught. You are using past tense. He says, evaṃ. When you say evaṃ, like tasmāt, therefore, tasmāt, therefore, evaṃ, thus. Okay? So that is also you are concluding. You can understand that you are concluding the topic. So he says, evaṃ sanmātragāhinyā vṛttyā tanmātragāhakaiḥ śabdaiḥ samarpitaṃ vastu bhāvayenniścalo yatiḥ evaṃ sanmātragāhinyā vṛttyā tanmātragāhakaiḥ śabdaiḥ samarpitaṃ vastu bhāvayenniścalo yatiḥ. Beautiful. Evaṃ, in this way, as we prescribed, sanmātragāhinyā vṛttyā. Sanmātra, not grahinya vṛttyā. Gahinya vṛttyā, avagahinya vṛttyā. Grahinya, same meaning. So, the vritti, the thought function which grasps the existence. See, I see the pot. So, how do I see the pot? The thought, the mind transforms itself into thought functions, travels through the sense organ eye and hits the pot. First, the job of the vritti is to remove the veiling of ignorance. That is done. Then it transforms itself into pot, the object. Right? So, here we are not talking about it transferring into some object. Sanmātragāhinyā vṛttyā. The thought function which has as its object the existence, the self. Okay. Now, again bring the pot. For what? We don't want pot. We want Brahman. Forget it. We want pot now. Why? Because if I see the pot, then if there is pot in front of me, the thought function transforms, hits, and then transforms itself into. Right? We know this. Now, without an object, how can the thought function transform itself into that object? So, for that, to supply the object, we say, tanmātragāhakaiḥ śabdaiḥ. Through the words which grasp that self. Tanmātra, that existence, that self alone. Gāhakaiḥ, avagāhid, grasping. So, we said, the yato vāco nivartante aprāpya manasā sah. Yesterday we saw this. From where the words and the mind revert back without grasping. Now here what we say, the mind transforms itself, should transform itself into that object, self. And by what? By the words which explicitly imply that self. Okay? tanmātragāhakaiḥ śabdaiḥ. The words which imply the self. Okay? Now, through that śabdaiḥ samarpitaṃ. When those words bring, samarpitaṃ means bring it, present it in front of you, present in front of the mind. What happens? That whatever it presents, that vastu bhāvayet. You have to imagine that vastu. Imagine. It's a process. It is a practice through mind. That is why he says vastu bhāvayet. Who should practice this? Yatiḥ. Yatiḥ means a renunciate, a monk. But here we have to understand a serious seeker should practice. Practice how? Niṣṭhalah bhāvayet. He should have to practice without any disturbance. That is why without any disturbance, practicing this is impossible. That is why we have to practice first the dṛśyanuviddhaḥ. For practicing the dṛśyanuviddhaḥ savikalpa samadhi, we have to practice the japa. We have the order, right? So, bhāvayet. How? He says, kāmādidṛśyapravilāpapūrvakaṃ śuddho'hamityādikaśabdamiśraḥ dṛśyeva niṣṭhasya yāyesha bhāvaḥ śabdānuviddhaḥ kathitaḥ samādhiḥ. kāmādidṛśyapravilāpapūrvakaṃ śuddho'hamityādikaśabdamiśraḥ dṛśyeva niṣṭhasya eṣa bhāvaḥ śabdānuviddhaḥ kathitaḥ samādhiḥ. dṛśyeva, like in the dṛśyanuviddhaḥ samādhi. What did we do there in dṛśyanuviddhaḥ samādhi? This is the predecessor of practice, the śabdānuviddhaḥ practice. Okay, so kāmādidṛśyapravilāpapūrvakaṃ. What we did is by merging, by removing the kama, etc., the desire, etc., dṛśya. We didn't remove the dṛśya, kama, etc., desire, etc. there. We made it an object for us. We became witness for them. Okay, we know there is this kama, I am the witness for this kama. There is this anger, krodha, I am the witness for this. So, the internally kama, krodha, etc. and externally the whole world, the pot, caught, etc. So, I am just a witness for all this. So, that is why he says, kāmādidṛśyapravilāpapūrvakaṃ, by merging all the desire, etc., by being the sakshi, witness for that. That is why the self cannot be witnessed. The witness needs something to be witnessed. So, we are talking about a practice. Okay, so dṛśyapravilāpapūrvakaṃ, by merging all the desire, etc., in the self, then what happens? Niṣṭhasya, one who is established in this kind of state of sakshi, he aham śuddha śabdamiśraḥ. With the words, endowed with the words, the teaching of the words, with like I am pure. What is this? I am pure. This is how we started the śabdānuviddhaḥ samādhiḥ. śabdānuviddhaḥ samādhi. The first shloka is śuddho'ham. Okay, so that is what he says. Aham śuddha, I am pure. I have no any kind of association with the ignorance or its effect. That is why, that is what is purity, right? With these words, yah bhāvaḥ, whatever imagination or whatever intention, whatever strength you practice this, esha śabdānuviddhaḥ samādhi kathitaḥ. This is what is called a śabdānuviddhaḥ samādhi. Okay, so after practicing the dṛśyanuviddhaḥ samādhi and merging it as being a sakshi, being the witness of it, with that strength, if you practice this bhavana, this imagination, then you will accomplish this savikalpa samadhi, which is śabdānuviddhaḥ. Okay, so there are two parts in savikalpa samadhi, in samadhi with attributes. One is a dṛśyanuviddhaḥ, practicing it with respect to the objects you perceive, being the witness, sakshi for it. Okay, that is the end game for it. The next is a śabdānuviddhaḥ. By using these scriptural statements, you perceive the, not the seer, the self, which is the bird meaning of the Vedantic statements. We are not talking about the implied meaning. Vedantic implied meaning is realization. Understanding the implied meaning is realization. We are now sticking to the word meaning. Why we have to present like that? Because in savikalpa samadhi, there is duality. You have not removed the trinity. The duality, the trinity. Okay, you have the seer, drashta, seeing, drig, seen, dṛśya, knower, knowledge, known, jnata, jnanam, jneyam. You have this. So you have trinity. So trinity with the samadhi. That is savikalpa samadhi. Okay, now this is not the end. We have to go beyond that. Okay, so he says dṛśyasyāpi sākṣitvasamullekhasya cātmani nivartakamanovasthā nirvikalpa itīryate. What is nirvikalpa samadhi? First we have to define what nirvikalpa samadhi is. So he says dṛśyasyāpi sākṣitvasamullekhasya cātmani nivartakamanovasthā nirvikalpa itīryate. Beautiful. dṛśyasya, whatever you see. dṛśyasya, whatever you see, perceive. Okay, first. Sākṣitvasamullekhasyapi, and also the witness. Whatever is being the witness for all those perceived. Both seen as well as the one who presents himself as the witness for the seen. Okay, seen and the seer, the witness, both. Cātmani avastha nirvikalpa itīryate. By merging them in the self, and removing these two, nivartakamanovasthā, the mental state, because this nirvikalpa which we are practicing is also a mental practice. Okay, so the mental state where you merge both the seen and the seer, witness, in the mind, in the self. That is nirvikalpa. Meaning to get rid of the Trinity, this is the practice. What is the practice? To get rid of the seer and witness by merging the seer and witness in the self. Cātmani. See, without the witness, there can be no witness. We keep repeating this. Without the sakshya, there can be no sakshi. Therefore, the sakshi bhava, the state of being witness, is a state of mind, a mental mode. It is not the self mode. Okay, so now we have to get rid of the seer, the seen, and the seer. Okay, wait, Trinity means seer, seeing, seen, right? You don't have to worry about the seeing, because if there is no seen and there is no dṛśya, there is no object, there is no seer, there can be no seeing. That is a simple explanation, but that is not the explanation we need to. See, that is, you understand. See, if there is no seer and there is no seen, then where can be the seeing be possible? That is impossible, right? We understand that, but we are not dismissing it, not taking it into account. The in-between state, the seeing, because of this. No. Then why we are not taking that into account? Because Trinity means that is also one Trinity, right? We are not taking into account because that seeing means knowledge. Knowledge is your inherent nature. How can you remove that? You are removing the dṛśya, the jnēya, the object of knowledge. You are removing the knower, drashta, but knowledge, jnana, you don't have to remember, because that is your inherent nature, right? So he says, nivartakamanovasthā nirvikalpa iti, that state of negating the, merging the seen and the seer in the self is what is called as this nirvikalpa samadhi. Oh, this nirvikalpa samadhi seems to be very beautiful, right? So why are we not instructed to practice this nirvikalpa samadhi? Because this is what is the end result, right? Why do japa, and after doing japa, listen to the scriptures, and after that practice the dṛśyanuviddhaḥ samadhi, then practice the śabdānuviddhaḥ samadhi, after dṛśyanuviddhaḥ samadhi, then come to, why all these ideas? So instead of me saying, Bhagavan Bhashyakara himself is saying, savikalpa samadhim yo dirghakalam nirantaram satkārapūrvakaṃ kuryāte nirvikalpo'sya siddhyati. Savikalpa samadhim yaha dirghakalam nirantaram satkārapūrvakaṃ kuryāte nirvikalpo'sya siddhyati. Simple. Savikalpa samadhim yaha kuryāt nirvikalpo'sya siddhyati. One who savikalpa samadhim, yaha savikalpa samadhim kuryāt, one who practices savikalpa samadhi, for him nirvikalpo siddhyati. Asya nirvikalpo siddhyati. For him nirvikalpa is accomplished. That's the meaning. But that is not the important thing. There are three words. Dirghakalam nirantaram satkārapūrvakaṃ. These are exact words from Yoga Sutra. In Yoga Sutra, for being established in that samadhi, what is the means? For that he says, satu. Satu means definitely sa. That samadhi can be achieved. How? Dirghāla nairantarya satkara sevito dridabhumihi. Dirghakala Nirantara Satkara Purvaka. There, Dirghakala Nairantarya Satkara Sevitaha. So, Dirghakala Sevitaha, Nirantara Sevita, Satkara Sevita. That is how we interpret it. Sevita means practiced. Because these three words are very important words. That is why he is bringing all the three words here. Oh, these are all humbug. You know, there is no point. I've been practicing this samadhi for so many years. All these practices, 10 years I've been practicing. Nothing. That is why I keep repeating. There was a professor in my college for math. Okay, so he comes to the class and he'll tell every day, "Sir, friends are your worst enemies, sir." Every day, that is the staple dialogue for him. So I asked once, "What is this? Friends are your what is this divide and rule policy?" So he said, "This is not divide and rule policy. This is the fact. Friends are your worst enemy. Why? Because he will say, I didn't study, and you trust your friend, not me. So what you will do is you will not study also. But he lied to you. You don't know. You thought he is a friend, so he won't lie. He lied to you, saying, I didn't study, but he studied. And who fails? Not him. You fail. That is why I say, friends are your worst enemy. Similarly, here, the seniors, the spiritual seekers, the seniors, I wrote a blog on it. So, these people, they make you do crazy things. They made me do crazy things. Not see eye to eye. Oh, that is crazy. Anyway, so all these ideas are to show that the amount of period you are practicing spirituality is not important. The time you spent in it is important. Like what? First is Dirghakala. I have been doing for 10 years. Oh, how many days each day? How many hours each day? Oh, 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the evening. Right? So, Dirghakalam, a long period, but not for longer time. Nirantaram, one should practice it always, continuously. So, for a long period, continuously. Okay, I understand. This is a big problem. You come, first they speak very, very beautiful words, and once you get stuck, they'll say, oh, you have to practice for a long period and continuously. Now I am stuck. I can't go back. No, because I know this is the only way. And I cannot do this also. But what to do? It's all my fate. So you practice. That is not the way you have to practice. You have to practice for a long time, longer period, satkara purvaka, with love. You have to really love the practice. Then nirvikalpo'sya, you accomplish the nirvikalpa. You understand? 3 words. Dirghakala, nirantara, satkara purvaka. Longer period, longer time, continuously and with love. When you practice savikalpa samadhi, then you will achieve nirvikalpa samadhi. Okay? Now, okay, I practice it for longer period, longer time. What will I achieve? Because end of the day, you are going to say again, okay, after japa, you have to practice dṛśya, then after dṛśya savikalpa samadhi, then shabda savikalpa samadhi, and after doing that, I came here, nirvikalpa samadhi. Then you are going to say, after nirvikalpa samadhi, right? So that is not the problem. So the end result he is saying here, nirvikalpa samadhi nishtaya tishtato bhavati nityata dhruvam udbhavadya apagati nirgala nitya niṣṭhala nirantara nirvrtihi nirvikalpaka samadhi nishtaya tishtatah bhavati nityata dhruvam udbhavadi apagatihi nirgala nitya niṣṭhala nirantara nirvrtihi. Okay, what is that I am going to gain through the practice of nirvikalpa samadhi? First, nirvikalpa samadhi nishtaya tishtatah. One who is established, tishtatah, one who is established in the practice of being established in the nirvikalpa samadhi. Okay, one who has accomplished staying put in the practice of nirvikalpa samadhi. For him, Nityata dhruvam bhavati. Nityata, eternality. Dhruvam, definitely bhavati, happens. He becomes eternal. Dhruvam means definitely. Dhruva is the word which is used for pole star. Dhruva nakshatra. So definitive. That is the thing which you have to see. Where is that pole star? Where is that northern star? Fix that, then you will understand where to go when in the night, right? So he says, Dhruvam, definitely you will gain Nitya. Nitya means you will gain the truth. It is said Nitya. What is truth? What is truth? Satya. Satya means Trikala Bhajyatam, that which is not negated in all three periods of time is truth. Right? That which is not negated in all three periods of time is truth. And that is Nitya. What is not negated in all three periods of time is eternal. Right? You become the self. One. That is the first result. That is not the end all result. That is the first result. Second result is Udbhavadi apagatihi. You get rid of the Udbhava, etc., birth, etc. You are not going to be reborn again. Okay. Then Nirargala Nitya Nischala Nirantara Nirvrtihi. This is one important point. People think after the knowledge, one gets pratibandha, the obstacles which prevent you from being by being staying put in that self. That is not true. Once the ignorance is negated, where can the obstacle exist apart from the ignorance? Obstacle is an effect of ignorance, right? So he says nirargala, without any obstacle. Nirargala, argala means obstacle, nirargala means devoid of obstacle. Devoid of obstacle, nirvrtihi, realization, liberation, bliss. Nirvrti means liberation or bliss. Bliss takes place. What kind of bliss? He says nirantara. Three words for bliss he is adding. Nirantara, first word, nirantara, eternal bliss. Then nischala, eternal bliss, but it is a fluctuating bliss. Sometimes it is more, sometimes it is less. No, nischala, without any change, without any fluctuation. Okay. Third is nitya, eternal. So there are three words. One which is indestructible, changeless, then continuous. Indestructible, changeless, continuous bliss is what you are going to experience after that. Okay. Now the result of the nirvikalpa samadhi is set. Now he says, Vidvan aham idam itiva kinchit bhahyabhyantara vedana shunyah swa ananda amrita sindhu niyamagnah tushtim aste kaschit ananyah. What will this fellow who experienced the bliss do? This is the natural thing. It is not a checklist kind of thing where you have to say, oh, even if you see that, that is your problem, not his problem. Okay. So he says, Vidvan aham idam itiva kinchit bahyabhyantara vedana shunyah swa ananda amrita simundhu nimagnah tushnim aste kaschit ananyah. Kaschit vidvan, whichever vidvan you are talking about, whichever liberated or realized person you are talking about, there is no difference in it. Aham idam iti va kinchit bahyabhyantara vedana shunyah. There is no internal or external. Vedana means experience. Shunya means devoid. Devoid of experience internally and externally. Internally means aham, I. Externally means idam, this. Either the experience of this in the form of this or the experience in the form of I internally does not take place. Okay. Now, without that, ananyah, he does not see himself to be different from the absolute. Okay. Now, being ananya, non-different from the absolute, what is his state of experience? Swa ananda amrita sindhu nimagnah. He is immersed, nimagna, he is immersed in Sindhu, ocean. Ocean of water, Ananda Sindhu, ocean of bliss. Where is the bliss? Not different from himself. Swa Ananda, one's own ocean of bliss, one's own blissful ocean, or the blissful ocean which is one's own inherent nature. That is why yesterday I said, what will you do when you see the ocean of bliss in front of you? You cannot take a drop of it. You will, if you take a drop, you become part of it. You will become immersed in it. Right? So that is the answer here. Okay. Now, what will you do? Tushnim aste. He keeps quiet. Tushni means normally he keeps his mouth shut. Here we are not talking about keeping the mouth shut. He keeps quiet without any activity. That is the idea. Tushnimaste means he keeps quiet, means he just exists without doing any activity. What does that mean really? Okay. First, to understand that, we need to know what activity is. Why we perform any activity? There are only two reasons for performing the activity. One, to reduce something, or two, to increase something. These are the two reasons we perform activity. We are very happy, we want to reduce happiness, therefore, no, we never do that. We are happy, we want to increase the happiness, we do an action. We are in grief, we don't want to increase the grief, we want to reduce the grief, therefore we act. Okay, to increase or reduce, you act only for these two reasons. Now, since the absolute bliss, which is your own inherent nature, you are not different from the self, what is there different from you? There is nothing different from you. There, since anyaha na ananyaha, since there is nothing other than you, tushni maste, you keep quiet. You are not keeping quiet because of want or non-want of anything. You are keeping quiet because there is nothing else other than you. Okay, for you to act. Okay, then he says, nirvikalpam param brahma yattasmineva niṣṭhitaah ete dhanya eva muktaah jivanto api bahirdrisham. Nirvikalpam yad param brahma. The nirvikalpam param brahma yat tasmineva niṣṭhitaah ete dhanyaah eva muktaah jivanto api bahirdrisham. So, nirvikalpam yad param brahma, the absolute Brahman, which is attributeless, choiceless. That is why we call it choiceless liberation. So, nirvikalpam yad param brahma, the absolute self, which is choiceless, activitiesless, attributeless. Tasmin eva niṣṭhitaah, one who is established in that very self. Ete, whoever they are, dhanyaah, they are blessed. Whoever is established in them, in that absolute self, they are blessed. What is this blessed and all that? I see him begging for food, running from pillar to post. How can you call him blessed? Because Rama cried, "O Sita, O Sita." And Krishna, he did all kind of mischief. And you call him blessed? What kind of thing it is? So he says, yes, I understand your problem. That is why he says, Bahirdrisham jivantopi. Jivantopi muktaah. Normally we have to say, even while alive, they are liberated. That is how you have to interpret. But he does not say that. Bahirdrisham jivantopi. For people who have their eyesights fixed on external things, meaning people who see only external things. For those people who don't understand the truth, for people who are involved in the world, for them, jivantopi, they may seem to be alive, doing things, performing activities. Still, muktaah eva, they are liberated. Even though they may be performing the activities, they may seem to perform activities from your standpoint of view, they are unblemished. They are untouched by any of this. They are liberated. They don't have any pain, which you see as pain. When the ignorance itself does not exist, what can the pain, etc., effect of ignorance do to you? Nothing. So, that is their nature. Okay? That is why, jivanto api muktaah eva. Jivanto api muktaah eva. Though they are alive, they are liberated. That is not the idea here. Bahirdrisham jivantopi, for the people with external vision, For them, though they are doing activity, they are liberated. They are not performing any activity. That is the idea. Okay, we'll see. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavshishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.